Hey guys, just wanted to do a tool unboxing. The next few videos I release are going to be about tools, tool maintenance, how to put things together, unbox a couple of new things as either I replace stuff here in my personal shop or if I get a chance to get stuff from the school that I hadn't put together yet. Of the new things that I bought right before we went out. This first thing is going to be a router to replace an old one, and I went with a different brand that I'm not necessarily used to. At school, we've got Bosch, which I have a Bosch, a small one that I keep here. This is my Bosch. It's called a Colt. It's kind of the handheld, do little things with it. I actually have like a cutting jig or a cutting bit on it right now, where I can either cut things out. I use this to cut slots and some things, but this is great for small projects. The one that I'm going to we're looking at here is the bigger version. It would either be mounted into a router table and or like those big tables that we're redoing for Dodgen Middle School art department, routing those edges, rounding them over, things like that. Also use this for dovetail jigs, which is the main idea that I had for purchasing this when we didn't have necessarily one that burned up. It's just one that may not handle that kind of pressure. The kind that I've dealt with mainly are Bosch, DeWalt, Ryobi, of course, and Porter Cable. This one happens to be a rigid from Home Depot. It has a good warranty on it, which is one reason why I purchased it. Kind of like Lowe's and their Cobalt brand, and now Craftsman, they really stand behind them. So if something goes wrong, as long as you've kept your receipt, you can take it back and usually get a replacement within a certain amount of time. On hand tools, it's lifetime on Craftsman and Rigid and Cobalt. On power tools like this, it's usually somewhere 3 to 5 years, which is still a really good warranty on tools, especially if you use them a lot. So we're going to unbox this particular router, 2 peak horsepower, so it's got plenty of power for what I do and really what we do around the shop. It'd be good, for dovetails and all that. Only 2 horsepower, probably wouldn't run it like constantly all day long. You have to really get up into those $300 and $400 ones to do that. This one, I think it was $99. It was either $99 or $129. I think they were running a sale on them, so I picked it up. So we're going to unbox it, see what's in. I hadn't even opened it yet. So we'll see what's inside the box and start putting it together and maybe talk about some parts and things like that. I'll move you guys over here where hopefully you can see a little bit better as I open the box and start this process. Most tools, if you haven't noticed, we end up with seems like 1,000 boxes and bags, because I guess that's the trend now, is everything comes with a bag, and so does this. Yeah, so if you're ever looking for a bag to tote something, just ask me. I've probably got 1,000 of them around that I could probably just spare. So within this box, or within this bag, you'll see you've got, it comes packed. This would be your wrench for changing the bits. It's a 15/16, so pretty easy to find. You got Allen wrenches and some other things in here. I don't know what they are for yet. Always don't disregard instructions. If you watch me put stuff together, you'll see a lot of times that I'm not very patient, so I don't really read the directions, but I keep them handy. It's always good. Make sure you have them. Make sure you have your warranty information, and you can register those things online, which is always a good idea. Operator's manual usually has something about putting it together. I'm pretty familiar with routers, so what I'm going to do is probably just kind of open it up to the features and assembly. So this one has mainly just adjustments. So there's really no assembly to it. This is a fixed base router, which means that the router really stays the same. You can, of course, adjust the depth, but this part right here kind of locks in and stays on there. This thing's pretty heavy and hefty. I like the way it feels, good balance to it. Different speeds, so you can speed it up or slow it down, depending on the material you're working with. If you're working on anything that has a plastic in it, you want to make sure that you run it at a lower speed. Wood, metal, wood, you can run it at a slow speed or a high speed. If you run it at a slow speed and you try to rip through something too fast, it's going to tear it out. So I tend to like bump the speed up and just kind of run with it. If you're running metal, you probably need to go high. I don't really mess with metal too much. On and off switch is a slide. All your adjustments here, and fixed base, it's all together. Not really sure what these things are, probably something to do with a vacuum. But there it is, it's all put together. Your adjustments on how you're going to operate this. So you can take this all the way out and just have the spindle. So if you looked at that CNC machine that we have, there's a space for us where you can mount your own router instead of that spindle that I actually purchased with it. This is what you would do. You'd take it out, put this in, and operate it that way. Just to give you a clue here, when you put these things in, you'll see there's usually a notch right there, this thing, and it's going to slide on your base right here, this piece that moves. So you're going to kind of line that notch up with this, let it slide down to it. Anytime that this is your lockdown position, anytime that you need to adjust it, make sure you take this off, as in loosen it up to where you can adjust this down or up. It's going to make your job or what you're trying to do, a lot easier. Generally, when I go to change bits, I don't take the base off. What I do is I adjust this down to where I can get my wrench into this side and then loosen or tighten it. One thing that when I inherited some tools in our program, someone had broken these things off, which is insane because it makes it so much harder, and it really is terrible for the tools. This is just your lock. It's your spindle lock, and it keeps it to where you can adjust this nut, which has your collet in it, which is what holds on to your actual router bit. So there it is, unpacked. Big beefy router. And let me stop this. I'll get some bits, and we'll set it up to do something.